Let's talk about Health Net versus LA Care in California. This is kind of an interesting matchup now, and a lot of people are really looking at their options depending on the market we're talking about. First, a little bit of backup. Health Net, way back when Anthem Blue Cross was forced to separate out its HMO business, that became Health Net. Back then, it was actually under a different name. So Health Net was originally an HMO model, and then they aggressively started to roll out more PPO plans and different options out there. And we'll talk about how that plays in. And then LA Care came from another vantage point, which was it was primarily a Medi-Cal provider in Los Angeles, and then they did it really well. And so they kept expanding, and really when they jumped onto Covered California is when it took off. And so we'll look at how that affected their trajectory and how we compare these two. And it's interesting, in some situations, they can be the top option in a given area, and we'll talk about why. We really have to break this down by market, and it's primarily Covered California, individual family, and then Medicare. But let's go to the first piece, which is Covered California, and that's where we're seeing the two of them compete quite a bit. Let's get right into the big battle for LA Care and Health Net, and it's coverage through Covered California for individuals and families. And almost all our enrollment is through Covered California because you can get subsidies, which will bring down the cost based on income. You can also get the enhanced silver plans, which can be really rich. The new Silver 73 has no deductible. It's almost a gold level plan. And starting in 2025, anyone can get it regardless of income, which is crazy. You definitely want to take advantage of that. There's almost no reason to go higher than the Silver 73 anymore. So LA Care, Health Net, both participate in Covered California. The benefits are standardized, meaning a Silver 73 is going to be the same whether it's with one carrier versus the other. So what are we comparing based on? It really comes down to network and pricing. So network is what doctors can you see and how care is managed. And that's really HMO versus PPO. And here there's a big difference. LA Care offers an HMO, Health Net offers an HMO and a PPO plan. So right off the bat, if you want a PPO option, or if your doctors only take PPO, you're looking at Health Net PPO or Blue Shield PPO. Those are the two PPOs left on the market. So that's kind of a done deal. However, on the HMO side, it's very different, and this is where they really compete. Health Net has a PPO or HMO, and so does LA Care. Pricing is usually pretty comparable, although LA Care is generally priced better than Health Net for the HMO market. They'll be in the same ballpark, but usually LA Care is going to be better. It's on the network side where we really see a distinction. Don't ask me how, but LA Care has managed some real coups in Greater LA in terms of the networks. Everywhere from Huntington Hospital and Optum over to UCLA on the west side, which is crazy. Because UCLA right now, or coming up on 2025, they're only going to take LA Care, HMO, and Blue Shield PPO. So, and I think the Blue Shield HMO might also be in play. We just got notification of that. But for LA Care to get these huge medical groups really speaks to why we're even talking about LA Care versus Health Net or versus any of the other carriers. Because to get UCLA, it's one of the top 3 to 5 major institutions in the state. You got UCSF, Stanford, UCLA, Cedars. I mean, this is really top-notch access, and LA Care is offering it usually at the best price plan for the Silver 73 in the area. So it kind of depends on where you are in Greater LA in terms of whether or not it's an option. Make sure to check your doctors. We can chase this down for you. Just contact us and we can work on that for you. But at the HMO level, Health Net and LA Care have been very, very successful. PPO, it's going to be Health Net, and that Health Net PPO can actually work against Blue Shield's PPO depending on the area. Not as much in LA County, but as we go further south down into San Diego, Greater San Diego County and up, the PPO network's not bad compared to Shield, and it's usually priced better. So that's the general lay of the land for Health Net and Shield. I'm sure there are specifics for your situation, doctors, pricing, plans. Reach out to us. There's no cost for our assistance. We can help you right away looking at Covered California comparisons for Health Net, LA Care, plus all the other carriers out there. Finally, let's touch base on Health Net versus LA Care for the senior or Medicare market. And this is a little bit different because, again, we have a separation, just like Covered California, between HMO and the equivalent of PPO on the Medicare side. So for Medicare supplements or Medigap plans, which are like PPO, you can refer yourself out. You're not locked into an area. You can see any provider that accepts Medicare. Health Net offers PPOs. They're competitive at it. Depending on your age, sometimes they're not as cheap as Shield or Anthem or United, but as we get older, they can actually be cheaper. And they also have the $25 new to Medicare discount for the first year. They added that on, which makes them competitive. So for Medicare supplements, you definitely want to run a quote with them across the board. Where LA Care and Health Net compete is on the Advantage side, which is more HMO. Generally, there are some PPOs, but usually people are opting for the HMOs. How do we compare these two? There, you want to look at really our triple threat, which we talked about separately: the price, the monthly premium, the max out of pocket, and then deductibles are your three things you want to look at. And of course, the star rating. How people, existing members, view those plans, how they like it, are they happy with it? Star rating's critical. There's some interesting pieces here. Health Net has okay star ratings depending on the plan and area, and that changes year to year. LA Care has done pretty well with their star ratings, so it's definitely something we want to consider. On top of that, it's the network. You really have to put your doctors in, put your medications and dosages in. When you run your quote down below, we can run that for you as well. And check your networks. As we talked about with Covered California, LA Care has really somehow acquired contacts or relationships with major medical groups, including Optum, which is just fantastic. So put in your doctors, put in your hospitals, let us chase that down for you. But that may be the deciding factor. If there are hospitals or doctors you want access to, that may be what dictates which plan you go with on the Advantage side. Because in greater LA, the benefits are usually pretty comparable, and it's usually zero premium anyway. So we don't see a lot of fluctuation. The max out of pockets are pretty similar. So it really comes down to networks and star rating. How existing members or prior members saw their plan, were they happy with it? That's how you compare the two. You have links below on how to run these quotes. We're happy to do that for you. And there's zero cost for assistance to compare and see how they look against each other and against all the other carriers that are in the area, because LA is extremely competitive for Advantage plans, which is good news for you.